anything that supports the safety of children should be welcomed.
Childcare centres across Victoria are grappling with how their industry will be impacted by a planned overhaul following a state government review.
I'm excited for what this means for our sector.
Parents are hoping any action will make kids safer.
It's awful, the circumstances that have led to this.
Nothing is more important to me than protecting children.
Victorian Premier Jacinta Allen has accepted all of the 22 recommendations outlined in a review of the state's childcare sector.
Parents must be able to have confidence that when they drop their kids off to their local childcare centre where they're going to be educated to learn, they must be able to trust that they'll be safe. And as we have seen, that trust has just been horribly broken.
The 6-week review was launched after police charged a childcare worker with more than 70 offences, allegedly involving 8 children at a childcare centre in Melbourne.
The recent allegations of horrific abuse across the childcare system has exposed a system that simply isn't working.
The 22 recommendations will rely on state, territory and federal government action. The Victorian state government has vowed to implement all the recommendations within 12 months, including the establishment of a new independent regulator.
It's certainly an ambitious time frame. I think the sense of urgency is there and I think it is important. At the same time, we need these reforms to be done right. So there has to be a balance. It's not just delivering for the headlines or delivering to take off the weight of public pressure. Delivery needs to be really robust.
The recommendations include overhauling the Working with Children check scheme.
Next week, I'll be introducing for urgent passage legislation that will ensure that the regulator, the Workers Screening Unit, has the capacity to immediately suspend an individual's working with children's check whilst a reassessment takes place.
Under the new scheme, unsubstantiated allegations could be used to refuse or suspend a Working with Children check.
There are questions around how certain elements will work.
Sam Vale runs a not-for-profit childcare centre in Melbourne's inner southeast.
So, the unsubstantiated allegations, who is the organisation? Is that the Commission for Children and Young People? How does that information get shared so that services can make sure they're employing people who are fit and proper to be working with children?
We have evolved practices that give adults the right to innocence before being proven guilty, to fair process, to natural justice.
Sam Page is the CEO for Early Childhood Australia.
I think it's time for us to shift the threshold of risk to the point that we are preventing harm from happening to children and not providing opportunities for harm to happen before we take action against the adults around them. If that means that some adults are unfairly stopped from working with children, that's unfortunate, but that is a better outcome than children are experiencing abuse.
The report also recommended a national trial of CCTV to be used in early childhood education and care settings.
I think that the impact that would have and the harm that could be caused from that, I don't know if that outweighs I don't even know if I can call it the benefit of having a camera on someone at all times. So again, I think it comes down to your workforce and having great training.
Sam Vale is opposed to CCTV being used at the centre.
I think for me it comes down again to the right of the child and the consent, particularly in spaces like bathrooms or when children are sleeping. The storage of those images, again, I think we see data breaches. It's just part and parcel of life as we know it.
I don't feel that we need it here. My sense is that CCTV doesn't prevent harm for children, but it allows the police to prosecute cases more safely.
Romy Goldschlager moved her daughter out of a private childcare centre because of high staff turnover.
As a working mum, you need to feel secure. You need to know who's looking after your child, and your primary responsibility is to your child's safety. And so if you're dropping your child off at a centre where you don't know the names or the faces of the educators looking after your child, you're failing your job as a mother.
The way the early childhood education and care sector has evolved, it was really about supporting the workforce participation of parents and the economy more broadly. And while regulations have been in place to protect the safety of children and the quality of services, it hasn't been the paramount consideration.
Some of the suggested reforms aren't new. They've been on the table for years, most recently in 2022 in a scathing Ombudsman's report, pointing out serious flaws with Victoria's Working with Children check system. Jacinta Allen was Deputy Premier at the time. Yesterday, she distanced herself from questions about inaction.
I wasn't involved in those previous decisions around that report.
The Victorian government has committed an initial $42 million to the reforms. Professor Michael Salter says it will take much more.
$42 million is a drop in the ocean. We are talking about a massive piece of national infrastructure that is going to need a real financial commitment, not only at the state and territory level, but at the Commonwealth level as well.
Tomorrow, state, territory and federal education ministers will meet to consider the review.
The public cannot tolerate consistent reports of egregious sexual abuse of children and babies in early childcare. That has to come to an end.